to, do you want me to introduce again or just keep going?
Please.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do the intro again, sorry. Hi everyone, my name is Vicente Velasquez. I'm part of the Transfer Summer Bridge Committee for the Office of the Transfer Student Representative. Thank you again for coming to day 2 of Transfer Transitions. We are super excited to be having this panel. We have organized a panel full of various departments that are very receptive or supportive to transfer students. It's very important that you have a familiarity with these departments because they do their best to make sure that they support transfer students, and they do it in a myriad of ways. And this is kind of their way to kind of be known and present, and as well as to show that, you know, they support you. So if they would like to take it off, I'd like for the departments to start introducing themselves. So we also have, first of all, we have a representative from the Transfer Student Center if they'd like to introduce themselves.
Great, thank you all so much for being here and for coming out today. Happy Tuesday. My name is Sarah Molatoris. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Transfer Student Center. Do you want me to say what we do really quick? Okay, great. We like to say we're a one-stop shop for all things transfers. We are not the only folks that do lots of things with transfer students, but we're like a hub of transfer things. So if you're not sure where to ask a question, or you're not sure what office can assist you with something, don't hesitate to give us a call. And we also do a lot of programming and events specific for transfer students. So super happy to be here. Who is up next?
Next, we have the Veteran Resource Center by Trent McBriddle. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah, no, it's McBride, but that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. But hey, what's going on? My name's Trent, and I work at the Veterans Resource Center. And similarly to the Transfer Center, we're like a one-stop shop for anything veteran-related. And it's not only veteran-related. If you have any questions about the school in general, I mean, we have connections to other resources. So if you're a veteran or not even a veteran, you're just military related, affiliated some way, parents were in the military, spouse of someone in the military, come to us and we can help you out. Any type of benefits, anything like that, I mean, we can get you squared away. I know we're a 42 right now, so we are a small minority, so I'm not expecting too many people that are affiliated with the military, but if you are, please reach out. I mean, we're gonna go in the breakout rooms later, so if you are, come chat.
All right. Next up is the Engineering Transfer Center by Wesley Uehara is here, if he'd like to introduce himself.
Hi there, my name is Wesley Uehara. I am the Engineering Transfer Center Director. I'm sharing my screen here because there's some things that I wanted to share with all of you. There's so much being thrown at you, and so for our engineering students, I want to say welcome. A couple of key things to keep in mind is that we are going to be hosting a welcome event on October 9th that we'd like you to come and join us for. We also have some guided pathways that kind of covers a week-by-week list of things that you need to pay attention to as engineering students. And we have a survey that we'd like all of our incoming students to help us to learn more about you. So if you can help us to fill that out, and we have a number of different avenues for you to connect with us. And I can share more in detail of these things during our breakout sessions. But with that, welcome to UCLA, and for you engineering students, welcome to UCLA Engineering.
All right. Next up is the Black Community Center. If Amanda would like to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Finley-Smith, she, her, hers. I am here representing the Black Community Center and the Black Resource Center, which is being started fall. Basically, we're here to do all things Black. So we're kind of like the Transfer Center. If you need to find something or someone who can get you what you need, we're the person to connect you. So we're gonna be working with all of the offices you see here, as well as academics, so, hey.
All right, next up is the Undocumented Student Program. If Enrique, would you like to give a brief introduction for yourself and the program?
Yes, welcome everybody. My name is Enrique Campos, or Quique, and I am the program manager for the Undocumented Student Program. I'm really excited as a former transfer to greet you and meet you all. So welcome to UCLA. A few of the things that we do at the Undocumented Student Program is, like everyone shared, we are like the central hub for information for undocumented students. We try to work with students on a one-on-one basis to understand their needs and be able to either support them through our office or be able to connect them to another office, resource office that will be able to get their needs met. And so we do have variety of workshops, events. We also trained our campus partners to make sure that they are also familiar with legislation that impacts undocumented students, so that they can also either support them or advocate for their needs within their offices as well. Additionally, we also have attorneys on site that work with our students. And so anything between DACA renewals or adjustment of status, they would need to meet with our attorney, and they would work with them to do all that paperwork. And so we're excited to meet you all. We can continue the conversation a little bit more.
So next up is the McKinney-Vento Rehousing Services and Bruin Underground Scholars. That's just the same rep. Please feel free to introduce yourself.
Yes, so I can talk about Bruin Underground Scholars, and I think there should be someone else on here for Mckinney-Vento. But hi everyone, Valeria Garcia. I'm the Assistant Director of the Bruin Resource Center, which is where the Undocumented Student Program is housed, the Bruin Underground Scholars Program, Mckinney-Vento, our Guardian Scholars, our Students with Dependents, and our Collegiate Recovery Program. So one department housing various programs. I work with PK and oversee the Undocumented Student Program, and then I'm also supporting the development of the Bruin Underground Scholars Program, which is our newest program. We've been around for about 9 months, and it's tailored to support individuals who have been impacted by the criminal justice system. So either they themselves identifying as being formerly incarcerated and or system impacted, having a loved one or who's currently or formerly incarcerated. So our program is fairly new. We're hoping to get to the point where we'll have meet and greets. There is a strong student organization on campus, Underground Scholars Initiative, and that's really our partners right now in helping identifying the best resources, events, services, as well as liaisons across campus. So here to chat a little bit more, share sort of some of the work that we're doing, but also just to make sure that you are connected to our program and the services across the BRCs that are available to you.
Okay. So next up, in the meantime, is Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. That is Lindsay Goldstein, if she'd like to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, thanks for the intro. My name is Lindsay Goldstein. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the acting director of the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. We help support our fraternity and sorority community. So that's roughly 66 different chapters and 6 different councils, all with wide identity and culturally based components to them. And so the biggest thing, I really appreciate being here today, but being able to share that you can join a fraternity and sorority as a transfer student. And so if you're interested in joining, whether that's this fall or winter, please let me know. About 10% of our community are transfer students, and that number is increasingly going up over the years. So we're hoping that that continues to go up with you joining our community this year. So welcome to UCLA.
Thank you very much. And then now we have Students with Dependents, Nia Davis. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Nia. I'm also housed within the Bruin Resource Center along with PK and Val. I actually have 2 programs. It's the Students with Dependents and the Collegiate Recovery Program. So the Students with Dependents program is a program that provides resources for students with children, either parents, caregivers, or guardians. And what we try to provide is connecting them to resources like scholarships, informing them of the resources that are available to them on campus, as well as providing family-friendly programming for both the parent and the child. And then for CRP, that's a program for students in recovery or students that have been impacted by someone in recovery or someone that's interested in going into recovery. And what we try to provide is a community for them to have recovery meetings, as well as sober happy hours, and just building community in a non-substance or alcoholic environment. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. So before we get started, we have one more person that wants to introduce themselves. Paulo, if you'd like to take it from here.
Yeah. Thanks, Vicente. So just quickly, Paulo Velasco, use he, him pronouns. I'm the director of the Bruin Resource Center and the interim director of the Transfer Student Center. So it's just really beautiful to see lots of friendly faces. Thank you to those who are on the panels. And I'm also really excited to see the students, many of the students here were part of my TSP discussion group. So it's great to see you all. Hope you all are doing well. So thank you all.
All right. That being said, let's kind of get on to the next part of the panel. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. These people really do work to improve transfer identity, and that doesn't just include transfers, but various parts of the transfer identity, whether it be first gen, whether it be people with dependents, non-trad, military connected. So these people are here, and they're here to reach out, and they recognize that these are very important resources for transfer. So I'm gonna get started by kind of just asking you. Guys already touched this in your introduction, but I wanted to ask about your background information in terms of what are your goals to support the various communities you guys serve. Anyone can kind of like take this started.
I can kick it off. I think that I think I speak for all of us. I'm very confident I do, actually. That we all want to make sure that transfer students at UCLA feel like they're fully welcome in the UCLA community. You all bring such rich and amazing experiences with you. And so we want to help you make the most of your experience while you're here and support you in any way that you might need. There are so many resources at UCLA that I think it can actually be quite overwhelming to figure out like which ones to access. And so we all offer different things, but all of us are doing so with the goal of helping you be connected to each other, the university, and to the things that you need to be successful. Like, you definitely belong at UCLA. You were admitted for a reason, and we're all here to help make sure that it's the best experience it can be for you.
Thank you for that. That was really nice.
I think if I can follow, I'm Wes again from the Engineering Transfer Center, and I would totally stand behind what Sarah just said with regard to our efforts, our hopes, and our wishes for our students and our community. One of the things that the Engineering Transfer Center, I think that like these next years, are going to be filled with an amazing time, and I think UCLA has just a large amount of things that you're going to need, to explore. And this next couple of years is really that moment in time that's going to help to define sort of, kind of the rest of your life, right? And so a lot of what you're doing in the next couple of years is investing in that. And I think as an Engineering Transfer Center, a big part of our goals is to make sure that, in this time that you're spending here as a Bruin, that you're getting to do that exploration and you're getting to do that preparation for the next step, which is life after graduation. And so here in the School of Engineering, a lot of our efforts here are focused at making sure that, as a professional school, that, we're helping our engineering students to become, well-rounded engineers in the near future. And so that's another big charge of what we do here. And, a big task of what you guys are going to need to do over the next few years as Bruins.
Thank you.
I can go next. Go ahead, Mia.
I just wanted to kind of echo a little bit of what Sarah said. Like, I know for me, like, my biggest goal is to create community and create a space. I know that I was a transfer student as well. I was a student with a dependent, and I remember coming in not thinking that UCLA was a space for me. And so I think for me, like, the heart of what I do, I want to create a space, a community of students to be able to see that there's other students there that's like them, that UCLA is a place that people look like them and that they belong. So just kind of echoing a lot of what Sarah said. And then just providing relevant resources. So every population is not the same. So just making sure that, being aware of the situations that our students are in, making sure that I have resources that are catered to their specific needs.
Yes, I would echo the same thing that everyone has been saying. And I think particularly as a transfer student, you kind of get used to an environment, right? Being in community college, building that community. And so coming into a new space with identities that you may not necessarily may feel comfortable because comfortable sharing because you don't know who is in the room or who is around you and who you can trust. So the goal is to increase visibility of the services that we offer, visibility of undocumented students on campus, so that students feel more comfortable like sharing that identity, or also like just seeking out services that would support them with that identity. So at the end of the day is how can we make sure that we become more inclusive of our students, and that's across like students to be able to access, and then also for our staff and faculty to be familiar and to use the right terminology, refer students to the right information or give them the right information so that one, students don't miss out on opportunities and resources because someone doesn't know where to refer them to, or that there's even a resource for them.
I can go next. I just want to echo what everyone has already shared. I think first and foremost, you're here, you belong here, and don't let those imposter feelings get in the way or undermine that. For the Bruin Underground Scholars, everything that everyone again has shared is just really aligns with our goals. But I want to read off some of our values and sort of our missions for starting the program and supporting folks. And our values are access, retention, and advocacy. To create a welcoming space where students who have been impacted by mass incarceration can come together to share their experiences and support each other without fear of judgment. Ensuring participants have the opportunity to engage with all opportunities available to UCLA, such that their conviction history does not deny them access to liberal arts education of the highest quality. And then really just fostering healthy relationship with the larger community, which includes but is not limited to other institutions of higher learning, community-based organizations, families, and those who are currently incarcerated. So those are the values that we are aligning. And as we're developing a program, those are the ones we keep in mind. I do want to take also just a few minutes to talk about, there's no one here from Mckinney-Vento or from our Bruin Guardian Scholars program. So those are two other additional programs within the Bruin Resource Center. And if folks have questions, feel free to join my group later. The Mckinney-Vento program is our newest initiative, our second newest initiative in the Bruin Resource Center, and it is a space to support individuals who have been classified by the Mckinney-Vento as being home insecure. So there is a certain classification. They are working very closely with their Bruin Guardian Scholars program, but it is to support individuals who have housing insecurity or have been previously homeless. So if you know anyone who could benefit from the service, please connect them to us. And then the Bruin Guardian Scholars program is support students who are currently formerly foster youth or have been, whether that's been in the foster care system for 24 hours or spent more time there. Our program is pretty lenient in the way that classify individuals and has a ton of resources and support services for individuals who fall within the category. So again, if you are connected to want to learn more about Bruin Underground Scholars Program, Mckinney-Vento, or the Guardian Scholars Program, please, I'm happy to share more as we break out into groups.
Thank you.
Sorry. The one thing I guess you guys can see from everyone is that it's really a community. I mean, we all have individual experiences in one way or another. So each individual office, can create that space for you. And we're all here as transfers for the most part. And so being from the Veterans Resource Center, you can guess that if you had any experience with the military at all, it's a very unique experience. And so most of us there do or have been in the military. So we know how it was and how it is. So, I mean, aside from community and like what that means, we also have like scholarships that are available to you. We have tutoring services. I mean, and like I said, we're just like a central hub for anything on campus, because I know it can get overwhelming seeing like, oh, I have problems with school, I have problems with financial aid. We know people in almost all of these offices. So, I mean, you can just come to us and we can get you connected.
Right. That's kind of like the running theme of everything here. At the end of the day, like, we're all a community. Like, just because like you belong to one specific one, don't ever forget that what unites us together is, the fact that we're transfer students or transfers or transfer supportive. And That's the goal of this, to kind of help you guys really feel that there's a community of scholars that are at UCLA and that we are a community. So I know we had questions, but I would think for time's sake, we need to move on to the next part of the panel. So as everyone's been kind of mentioning, we're all going to be going out to separate breakout rooms or breakout Zoom links, as I like to call it. You can join separate Zoom links, it's possible. And essentially, each person is going to be, in a Zoom link. So if you want to talk to the TSC, they're in a breakout room. If you want to go to talk to, say, the RC, they're in another breakout room, and yada yada. And you're not limited to these breakout rooms. You can come back to this Zoom link or this Zoom meeting. Don't leave this Zoom meeting. It's essentially you're joining 2 Zoom meetings at once, and you can go talk to various ones. There will be moderators here to. Oh, yeah. We're doing breakout rooms. Sorry, I'm thinking of another panel, but yeah, we're doing breakout rooms for essentially everyone. So what we would like everyone to do is put a number next to your name if you're planning to go into a breakout room, and I'm gonna post in the chat something to help. This is essentially like an example of like what I'm talking about. So each of these orgs are going to be in a breakout room, or departments, sorry, are going to be in a breakout room. Put a number next to your name on which one you want to go to first. And while Zuleika's sorting you out, I could start with a little bit of questions that kind of are towards the general like transfer populace or the department populace. So if any one of these know, someone asked in the pre-survey, how will intramural sports work for this year, if anyone knows?
Athletics is working with Department of Public Health to get permission to even have people on the intramural fields or the Drake Stadium. If you've been to campus, you'll see that they're completely closed. And so after they figure out if they're even allowed to have people on is when they'll figure out how many people at a time.
Okay. Does anyone else have any more info about intramural, or that was a pretty good answer? Thank you again.
I would just add, I'll drop the link in the chat because I'm sure they're going to be updating their website on like when that's available. So that's also just a great place to kind of keep updated with when they are able to have everything open again. As Amanda said, they're working with the public health department, and I'm sure there will be some campus-wide messaging about being able to access those fields and spaces once we are able to do so.
Okay. And no one else has any other input on athletics and stuff. Thank you again, Lindsay, for that resource. Another question is, how can we keep in touch or stay up to date with the various departments and resources? Since everything's online, we can't exactly go physically to your center.
I would just say for the majority of everyone sitting here, yes, we're all on the community.ucla.edu page, which is where our calendars will be. But on top of that, almost everyone has an Instagram account. So if you're on Instagram, you could follow majority of the offices on here, and that's probably where they're publicizing what they're doing or just their contact information. But the first place would be where Lindsay posted, the community.ucla.edu, and it'll connect you with whoever you need to get to.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, but social media is going to be very big, and as Amanda mentioned, there is a website for all the various resources. So like, it's very important that you have like social media just for the sake of staying connected with these resources. Another thing to kind of ask is, how do you recommend finding more transfer-friendly resources on campus? Whether it be other students or other departments, like how would you recommend going about finding that?
I would definitely say go to the offices, because once you go there, there's other people using those resources that are in the same situation as you. I mean, I know personally we have 600 plus veterans on campus. I mean, if you come to us, we're going to have more. We have usually between 50 and 100 people coming around every so often. So you come there, you're going to find some more veterans.
Okay. Sounds like a pretty piece of solid advice. Anyone else have any other response to that question? Oh, sorry.
I think the other thing I would add to that is, yeah, I think like the offices are really great places to solicit information, and we're all remote right now, right? So our offices aren't physically open, and so physically walking in can be difficult. So websites are always great, but I think the other thing I would add to it is like really try to meet and connect with other students. Like, you know, either incoming students or even returning students, because they're going to know, right? Particularly now with some of the changes that's been going on in our world, where the great places, you know, that students are connecting and also the resources that they're utilizing. And so, you know, for incoming students, you know, I always try to encourage them to try to not just connect with each other, but to connect with some returning students as well.
Thank you. I do agree. Students, it's very important to get connected with students, because students are just as good of a resource as anything, because people know different things compared to others. I do have a couple of specific questions for Lindsay, since people have asked about Greek life and stuff, and you can go into this more in your respective breakout room. But just to ask, how does joining a fraternity or a sorority differ compared to joining, say, a club or an organization?
Absolutely. So the main difference, if we think about the difference between a student group, which might be under our colleagues in Seoul, and a fraternity and sorority, is that joining a fraternity and sorority is a lifelong engagement, right? So I graduated quite a number of years ago. I'm still an active member of my sorority. I'm going to call out Amanda as well, who's a great colleague, who's also Greek, right? She is still an active member of her sorority as well. And so that lifelong connection, right? It starts in college, or it starts as a graduate alum or initiate, but it also continues lifelong. And I think especially during these times, right, connection and community is what we're all craving. Even us, right, as pro staff, like we miss seeing our colleagues on campus, and we miss those interpersonal connections. And so being able to rely on those relationships is really important. I think the other thing is that there's ways to support, to find support and find connection in a like-minded way, as well as with people who you might not have ever met before. So, or you might not think that you have things in common with. And so what's really great about our community at UCLA is that it reflects the UCLA demographics. So we have 6 councils at UCLA. I'm going to run through them real quick while people are writing out their numbers, because a lot of schools don't have 6 councils. And why we do is because we have cultural and identity-based organizations that really reflect the community. So we have our Asian Greek Council, we have our Interfraternity Council, our Latinx Greek Council, our Multi-Interest Greek Council, our National Panhellenic Council, which supports our Divine Nine traditionally Black fraternities and sororities, and our Panhellenic Council. And so when I say 66 chapters, it's quite a wide range of potential identity, cultural, some educational focused organizations, as well as chapters without any identity focus to them. And so depending on what you might be interested in, there's definitely an opportunity for you to find, I'll use the word that everyone's been using today, a community here at UCLA, because that really does help make such a large campus feel smaller.
Okay, thank you for that. And to kind of bounce on that other question, let me just get that on, make sure it's right. How does an interested student join a fraternity or a sorority given the virtual environment for the upcoming academic year?
Absolutely. Great questions that came in. The big points, and I'm going to put in, just in case, I know there's a lot of different groups going on at the same time. So I'll put in our website just as a drop in case you need it. But the main message is that there's still an opportunity to join, right? So our community did not stop just because we went remote. Since March, the entire community has been active and engaging in different programs and events all throughout the year. So anything from preparation for careers and internships, resume reviews, staying healthy with mind and body, different activities, finding different types of programming events, silent discos, movie nights, things like that, all still happening in a virtual setting. How someone actually joins is going to be during the academic term. So it will start, you'll probably start to see things again on that community calendar starting next week. There's only one council that has a hard registration to them. So the Panhellenic Council has a formal recruitment process, and I'm going to put their website in the chat. I can do 2 things at once. There's a registration component. It is $15 to register, and that registration deadline, I believe, is Sunday night, so Sunday the 27th, so a week and a half from now. That's a hard registration. All of the other councils and chapters do not have a registration component. It's an independent process. So the best thing is to start to explore our website, start to explore Instagram and their own Facebook pages and different things like that. Try to figure out what type of community you're interested in joining, and then contact us and we can help direct you to those chapters who are providing their recruitment or intake events. So that way you can see, you know, this is a chapter or a community I'm interested in joining. So you don't need to pick from all 66. We can kind of help you narrow that down and what type of community you're interested in. And then everyone else will be having different events throughout the week. They should also be highlighted during the Enormous Activities Fair, which is happening on Instagram, starting next week. That normally is a large campus fair that happens at the beginning of Welcome Week. And then we'll also be pushing events out to the community calendar. So the calendar, Instagram, and everything's happening in a remote setting. So even if you're not able to make it to the Westwood area, that process is going to look the same for everyone because the entire process is going to be online.
Thank you. That's, you know, one thing I just kind of want to stress what Lindsay says, that, you know, even though everything's remote, and what everyone kind of said here is like, they are still active, they are still running stuff. It's not the same as, you know, coming to campus or like any social they have, but they are doing their best to make sure that you at least can see people, you at least feel that you're connected to UCLA. It's a very difficult obstacle, but the important thing to note is that they're trying, and it's best that like we come together and appreciate that. Everyone here cares for the transfer community, or pretty much the UCLA student body in general. So I would say that as Lindsay stated, you can still get involved just as much with the transfer departments and the transfer orgs, which is in a later time, but essentially like don't feel isolated. People are doing ways to try and interact with the students and reach out to you. So yeah. Zuleika, what's the ETA on the breakout rooms?
Yeah, so I have a couple of students who haven't chosen a department to go to, but I do want to encourage all of the incoming transfer students that this is a great opportunity to learn about the different departments that UCLA offers and that are really looking to help your transfer experience here at UCLA. If you don't know which department you're looking towards, like which one to choose, you can private message me and tell me or ask me questions, and I can definitely guide you to the right department. But yeah, so far we have a pretty good turnout for people to go into the different departments. But that's the ETA so far.
Right. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna throw out a question. Are any of your departments planning to do any specific fall events? Like, for example, I know the Transfer Student Center is doing one, if you'd like to plug it in real quick.
Yes, we're actually doing several during True Brewing Welcome. So there's two that are formally on the calendar. The first one is trivia. The very beginning, we're going to do just kind of like a hello and welcome. And then we're going to be playing trivia live on Facebook. So we're using Kahoot. We're going to set a really long question window for the lag, but you'll be able to play through your phone or computer on Kahoot. And I think that one's going to be really fun. It's going to be all like UCLA trivia. The other one is we're doing an event during True Bruin Welcome. Both of these events, by the way, are on the 29th. There's lots of things happening days before, and there's lots of things happening after. So we're just both on the 29th, which is cool. Our other one is we're trying to help you all meet more people, because we've heard lots of transfer students saying like, you know, you want to meet people, you know, outside of class and like make friendships. And so I would definitely say, come out to like many of the Welcome Week events, because you're going to meet people inherently. Don't be shy about like DMing someone. Ooh, can someone drop the Welcome Week schedule in the chat? There's a whole schedule for y'all, and like there are so many events. Thanks, Amanda. And so our other event is called the Transfer Meetup, and we're going to be just focusing on like breaking off into different small group conversations so you can meet lots of people at one time. The last thing I want to plug is many of us are hosting watch parties for something called, I'm going to call it the wrong name. This is Bruinlife. Is that the name? Okay, great. I always call it the wrong name. So this is Bruinlife. It's a show for new students. It's been really fantastic in the past, just completely honestly. They get really talented folks to be in the show. So UCLA has many talented alums. The Transfer Center is going to be hosting a watch party. So we'll like live stream it on Facebook so you can watch with us. But lots of campus offices are also going to be hosting watch parties. So if there's a particular community that you belong to that you would love to like be able to discuss something like a welcome event with in real time, I would totally recommend going to one of the other watch parties and like checking out like what people are talking about the welcome show. Other plugs?
Yeah, do any of the other departments plan to do something? I know, Wesley, you kind of talked about it a little bit. If you want to go a little bit more into detail about like stuff you're planning for the fall.
Yeah, so, you know, I talked about our welcome event, and that's really a key one because we're actually going to be using we're trying something different this year. We're using a virtual platform that's going to allow people the freedom to walk through an event and walk up to people individually and have conversations. And so, you know, a big part of that event is going to be trying to connect students with other students in their department. And so, you know, we're hoping that people will come out to that welcome. It's also a time when we'll sort of showcase the whole quarter's worth of activities. We're going to be hosting weekly sort of social / support drop-ins at the center. We have peer advising available, and so you can request a Zoom session if you want to meet with one of our counselors. We're also going to be hosting a bunch of info sessions, and so for engineering students, a big fall recruiting is a really important thing. And so a lot of our efforts are going to be focused on helping our students to prep for those recruiting events to try to secure summer internships and whatnot. And so we'll have a lot of that kind of stuff. And then we're going to be hosting some fun events for our students as well. And so probably the Facebook is the best place to hear about it, as well as our website, just because we're going to be pushing out information that way. But yeah, those are some of the things that we have from the Engineering Transfer Center.
Okay. Anyone else have any like things that transfers can get into for the fall? Or should at least be on the lookout for?
I'll just share briefly that I also, along with Sarah, help support Tau Sigma, which is the only transfer honor society on campus. And so we also work with students who participated in TSP, if anyone's on the call as well, that any student who in their first term transferring to UCLA, taking a full course load, which is why we can include TSP, and receives a 3.5 or above is automatically invited to join the Tau Sigma Honor Society. That invitation goes out in the winter quarter after fall grades are posted and available. And so I'm sure that Tau Sigma will be hosting some different events and programs that are open to all members of the transfer community. And then they'll also offer programs to Tau Sigma members after students join in the winter. So keep an eye out for that. I'll put some of their information in the chat as well, but feel free to ask Sarah and I any questions around Tau Sigma as well if we can help support.
Okay, thank you for that, Lindsay. Just another question I kind of want to ask. I know many transfers or students like to get involved with your respective campuses, and this is like, you know, in terms of like, say, doing volunteer work or helping out with certain events. So I would like to ask the department's representatives, what is a way that a student can get involved with their respective departments, like volunteer or jobs?
I'll say for the Black Community Center, the majority of students that are involved in us are actually a part of the African Student Union. So if you are Black or anywhere on the African diaspora, so Latino, Afro-Latino, anything, I'm gonna put their Instagram, follow the Black Bruin page, which is our student organization. And they are really the power behind why we have a Black Community Center and a Black Resource Center and how it runs and what it does. And And even if you don't fully identify with just that organization, they're the top tier for all the other Black organizations. So really like Black engineers, Black everything, African, Nigerian Student Association, everything falls under them, including National Pan-Atlantic, which is the Black Greek fraternities. They fall in them as well. So if you want to get involved in anything regarding the Black Community Center, I would say let's start with African Student Union, and then that's how you can work your way into really doing anything you want to do in the Black community here at UCLA.
Okay. Any other ways? Sarah, I know I plugged the TSC a lot, but I know the TSC has tons of ways to get involved.
We do. We have our mentorship program and we have a volunteer program. I feel like we're represented a lot this week, so I'll just leave it at that. But we have links for both on our website. I'm going to plug something specific about ASU and Amanda's involvement is they do this incredible program for incoming transfer students as a part of admission season called BBTE, which is the Black Bruin Transfer Experience. They were amazing this last year at bringing it online. And so if you would want to help incoming newly admitted Black Bruins, they really do a great job like welcoming admitted students. And it's all like student led.
Okay. Are there any other departments that have ways to get involved?
I mean, I think from the Engineering Transfer Center, we have staff positions, we have mentor positions, and we also have some professional development positions where you get paid as a mentor to go back to your community college and help with engineering activities there. But sort of more to speak about student clubs and organizations, School of Engineering has close to 70 different student orgs and design teams for students to get interested in, and it can be focused on like technical projects, like if you're interested in, you know, the Baja car team or concrete sports team, you know, we have design teams like that, but we also have communities that are looking to give back. And so we have like our Engineers Without Borders that are, you know, building, you know, rain catchment systems and schools for small communities. And then also different communities that are more focused at supporting specific members of engineers. And so we have things like the Society of Women Engineers, National Society of Black Engineers and whatnot. So there's really a lot to get involved with and ways to do that while you're here.
Okay, thank you very much for all of your answers. Zuleika, if you like to like kind of talk about the breakout rooms in a bit.
Yeah, so thank you everyone so much for being here. I appreciate all of your time. I know that we're very busy as you know, the quarter will be starting very soon. But this is how the breakout sessions are gonna go. Any number that you put by your name, I will be assigning you to the department that is assigned to that number. If for any reason you're interested in more than one department, feel free to just come back to the main session. I will be here and I can just reassign you to another department. But that's basically how it's gonna go. For those of you who